All right, Senator Santorum, I want to ask you, what do you see as the biggest constitutional...
Let him go first if you want.
I like going back and forth. I'm going to go back and forth.
I just want to make sure I don't have to get...
This is not one of those big-time TV debates.
Actually, I prefer following so I can think while he's giving an answer.
Oh, okay. What do you see as the biggest constitutional failing of the Obama administration?
This is going to be a much longer debate now. Wow.
You get to pick one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to... I'll let you go first on this. Why don't you go?
Fine. Go first.
Not understanding which country he's president of. I can't disagree with that. You can certainly go article by article and tenet by tenet. The way this president has usurped the power of the states. I mean, obviously, I start with Obamacare, which I think is the fundamental game changer for America. Where obviously you have a Supreme Court decision that's going to come up. If the president's lucky, it'll come up before the election, and it'll be struck down. Otherwise, you're going to see what happened in Ohio, which the press has glossed over and talked about how John Kasich was dealt this horrible blow with the unions coming out and overturning his attempt to help municipalities in Ohio by reforming the collective bargaining rules. And they missed the fact that in that environment, where the unions turned out a huge vote to help them basically keep their grip of power over the local governments in Ohio, that with that huge wave of Democrat support out there in a low turnout election, Obamacare went down 2-1 in the state of Ohio. That mandate went down 2-1. So it's pretty clear to me that if the Supreme Court, and from a purist point of view, the Supreme Court should strike down Obamacare's mandate that the federal government does not have the right to mandate that you purchase a product from a private sector entity. They should do that. And I hope they do that, because we would set a precedent that would basically wipe out any kind of limit on the power of the federal government if they don't do it. But it would be and maybe that's the reason, and you may have an opinion on this as a political analyst, Lou, but maybe that's the reason the administration's pushing this thing so hard, that they get that thing struck down, and so the American public won't be as upset with them going into the election, because Obamacare will have been gutted. But what this president attempted to do undermines the very premise, not just the Commerce Clause, it undermines the very premise of a government of limited government. It robs us of our freedom, makes every single American dependent upon the federal government for something that is obviously essential for all of us, our health and our life. Margaret Thatcher, when she left the Prime Ministership of England, said she was never able to accomplish what Reagan accomplished in transforming America back from the brink of socialism, which we were on in the 70s. And she said the reason was the British national healthcare system, the dependency on that system. I always tell the story of me being in the green room with Juan Williams about 3 days before the House passed the Senate version of Obamacare. And I saw him and I said, you folks are headed to an electoral disaster. You're going to shove this thing through the House. I have no doubt you'll pass it, because they'll buy the votes that are necessary and they'll lie to the rest. and they'll get this done. I said, what are you guys doing? You're committing electoral suicide. And here's what he said to me. He said, I just talked to the Obama administration. This is what they said. They said, quote, we believe Americans love entitlements. And once we get them hooked on this entitlement, they'll never let it go. And Newt is absolutely right. They don't know what country they belong to. This country was founded by people, and people who populated this country from all over the world came from countries where the government had their hooks into and wanted to be in a country where they were free, where government didn't have control over every aspect of your life. Obamacare is the game changer for the future of our country, and if Thatcher is correct, it is a turn that cannot be reversed. That's why we need to elect, well, in this case, Rick Santorum as president of the United States.
GrokTV.